This episode is sponsored by Petra Kolb. Hello and welcome back to Film Pro Productivity and Success, the podcast that helps film professionals and other creative people, all creative people, really to live a more focused, effective and hopefully a happy life. My name is Carter Ferguson and this is episode 70, Why You Must Adapt and Be Flexible. Change is the only constant in life. One's ability to adapt to those changes will determine your success in life. Benjamin Franklin, unquote. Now, the reason I'm doing short episodes this season, as I mentioned in the previous episode, and I've really tried to make this work after several seasons which bloomed in length and format, is because I came face to face with a difficult choice. Either I give up on all of this on the podcast itself as it's simply too time-consuming for an endeavour that frankly brings me no income, or I had to adapt. This new episode format was hard fought to make work too, as mission creep, which is something that I'm going to be talking about in the next episode, was always extending and stretching my resources. In the end, I just had to adapt. And we all have to adapt at the moment, I think, because this coronavirus pandemic has meant that things, for the time being at least, are just no longer the way they were. Flexibility is not a weakness, though. It's a tremendous achievement tool, provided you stay true to your vision, mission, your values, and your principles. If you can be flexible, you have a choice to refine what you do, to stop what you do, or to do it all differently. But if you've got no flexibility, you will not be able to benefit from failures or solve old problems in new and better ways. It takes a determination to succeed and mental flexibility to be able to solve problems creatively, find opportunities in the problems that arise, and emerge from failures as an inventive winner. An inflexible mind jumps to conclusions before gathering all the facts. Have you ever made the mistake of forming an opinion about someone before he or she has finished speaking, only to find out later that your opinion was way, way off? That inflexibility limits you and can get you into real trouble. And I realise that it's very easy for me to say you need to be more flexible and adapt to circumstances and things will get better for you if you can be like that, but it's a bit more difficult to put into practice. So here's a few things to get you thinking about it. First and foremost, you need to try not to be wedded to a concept. You can have a plan in mind. Obviously, I'm into planning, I'm into strategizing, I'm into navigating my way through life, and that's what I kind of teach here in this podcast in every probably second episode. But if you're too wedded to a concept, you will not be able to be flexible when things change. One thing that I do, I know it's a problem, is I have a set plan in my head. Oh, I'll do this on Saturday and that'll work out. And when Saturday comes along, a couple of other things have happened that are more important than what I'd planned and should have priority over what I had planned. But my head is going, but I've planned that. I must do that thing that I thought about doing. And nowadays, I'm not so bad at it because now I'll go, that was a plan. It might take me a few hours. It might even take me a day or to kind of realize that I need to change things. But I do allow new information to change the direction of things that I have planned. So try not to be wedded to a concept and be adaptable. There's something they call a creative dissatisfaction mindset, which is, I'll probably do a podcast episode on this because I don't actually know that much about it myself, but it's basically saying don't be satisfied with the status quo or the status quo, whatever you want to say there, and be self-confident and believe that you can do more innovative things, that you can keep your eyes and your mind open and be prepared for unexpected discoveries and treat frustrations as challenges to your creative problem-solving skills. That's all about nurturing creative dissatisfaction. But right back to my point, try not to get wedded to a concept. Next up, constantly scan, and I found this in a business blog, I think it was, try to constantly scan the competitive environment that you're in for new opportunities. Stay close to your customers or your partners or your associates to hear their concerns and suggestions, and be in daily communication with those that are working under you or business partners to allow ideas and concerns to become apparent to you. Basically, keep your ears open, keep looking around. If you see something happening, react to it. You know, there's a whole lot of bad stuff happening at the moment due to the COVID-19 situation, but there are opportunities there within it. And don't think for 1 second that people are not making money from this. Some people who have been able to react to the situation and pivot, I think is the word that was used a lot at the start of the pandemic, pivot what they're doing, they will be benefiting from this situation because they are ready, they're agile and able to move. Another thing you should do is challenge your own assumptions. Ask yourself why and what if kind of questions. That way, I think you can break up that concept that I was talking about earlier that you might be wedded to. Ask questions like, why am I thinking this? Why do I want to do this? And what if I did something else? And you might find that it helps to break up that rut that you've got into. Another thing you can do is to start implementing new strategies and ask learning SWOT questions. Now, I'm going to talk about SWOT analysis in an upcoming episode. I think it's 2 or 3 down the line from now. But it's an acronym for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And it's an analysis you would do of yourself or your project to see how it can adapt and be more flexible. That's the point of this episode. So if you ask SWOT analysis questions and have them answered honestly, the honesty is an important part of it, then you will learn what is working for you and what is not. And finally, to be truly flexible, you must reassess your past strategic decisions periodically and make corrective changes. What worked for you in the past will not always work for you now. And I can give a clear example of this in this podcast. Probably since the very start of season 1, I've been using the same means of promoting it. I've been creating an image which has got a quote on it. I've been creating a little video which is effectively a clip from this episode, which I can put out on social media as well. And I put some tweets out about it, and I put some Facebook posts, etc. And I hope that people will follow those links and go and listen to it. But when I look back and assess, how these things are doing, I also put website posts up, etc. When I go back and when I've gone back and assessed how these have been working, some of them have been absolute garbage, completely pointless. I mean, some of them I have to do anyway because it's kind of part of the show. It's the support of the show notes that go along with it. But I could go on for years doing the same thing and achieving the same bad results if I wasn't looking back and assessing what I'm doing and adapting. So that's a really, really key part of it, and that's a great reason why you should try to be more flexible in the first place. And it's essential that you embrace flexibility and shake off the old ways that could be keeping you back. Those with flexibility also tend to be happier, and they also tend to be more successful in life and work. Here are a few ways that Inc.com suggests that exceptionally flexible people benefit from their adaptability. 1. They adapt quickly to new situations and tend to be prepared at all times with a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C, and probably a plan D if necessary as well. If you're able to adapt quickly to new situations, then those additional plans will allow you to move forward and be happier. And I always mention at the top of this podcast that this is I do these shows to give you a happier life, because I think that's kind of the point, isn't it? We want to all be happier in life. Number 2 on this list of how exceptionally flexible people benefit from their adaptability is that they embrace how things are by appreciating those things that are going right in their lives. I know for myself, I can get caught up sometimes in what is going wrong, but flexible people look at what's going right, and that, in effect, makes them happier at the end of the day. Number 3, they pause before reacting. They understand that there are many solutions to any given situation, and they take the time to gather information before choosing their best option. Number 4, they don't get defensive. They understand that receiving honest and candid criticism and acting positively towards it can only make them better. And I can't tell you the number of times that I or a colleague of mine has been asked to comment on someone's short film or whatever and have given an honest criticism, maybe not even that honest, like slightly guarded criticism, and those people have blown up when they hear it. I think if you're open to, constructive criticism, you will benefit from that as well. You can always say no to constructive criticism. You can always say, no, I'm going to do it my way. You don't need to blow a gasket over it. Number 5, they think on their feet. Flexible people aren't afraid to change their opinions as they take in new information. Number 6, they can easily switch tasks midstream and work on multiple projects at the same time. They have an innate ability to change their global way of thinking to a much more precise way of thinking when necessary. Number 7, flexible people tend to be true innovators. They view the world through an open and creative lens. They thrive on discovering more efficient ways to achieve, and they create new systems that are beneficial to everyone. Number 8, they are great empathizers and listeners and tend to be very perceptive of others' feelings and what they are thinking. Number 9, they have a strong sense of themselves and they trust and follow their inner voice. And I think I did an episode, I think it was episode number 5, and it was about the inner critic. This is the opposite of that. This is an inner voice that gives them comfort, I'm talking about here. Number 10, their flexibility allows them to see the humorous side of life's struggles with an easygoing, take it task by task and day by day attitude. Number 11, the final on this list, is that they are well liked, and that's because they listen to the opinions of others and are willing to help out others when needed. I think that your strategic flexibility and the ability to adapt quickly when you see a particular strategy isn't working just may be the key to your success. To quickly perceive the need for change and then make it happen will set you out from your competitors and highlight real opportunities for you when your competitors can't see any. And I do talk about competitors. I'm not particularly competitive myself. I've got good relations with fellow fight directors in Scotland. Very good relationships, in fact. But I think we all need to be aware in whatever industry we're in that, there's a limited amount of work and, you want to be able to get ahead of the curve rather than be following. So, this is a strategic thing, being flexible, but it'll help you in life as well. That whole thing about being happier if you're more flexible. Take it on board. So, thanks for joining me. That's it. That is as short as they're going to be. Well, I think a few of them are going to be longer, actually. This was my first episode trying this slightly shorter format. I hope you like it. And if you do like what you hear, then please spread the word. And don't forget to subscribe and give me a shout out on your social media if you get a chance to. Do that thing if you want where you screen grab your phone as you're listening to the show, post that image onto your social media and tag the show in it. Tell people where they can go and listen to, tell them you enjoy it. That'd be really, really helpful if you would do that. In the next episode, though, I'm going to be talking about, what is it I'm going to be talking about? Mission creep. Mission creep. That's something I wanted to slot in a few times. Mission creep is basically when you plan something and it starts to grow arms and legs. So I want to talk about that and how we can keep control of it. But let me end now with the words of Peter Economy, that's the leadership guy on Inc.com, who says that we must be prepared for changes in our business environment and profit from them by being flexible instead of rigid in our beliefs and actions, unquote. But perhaps maybe you'd prefer this one from Aesop, who said, "The little reed, bending to the force of the wind, soon stood upright again when the storm had passed over." Now take control of your own destiny, my friends. Keep on shooting and join me next time on Film Pro Productivity and Success. The music that you can hear right now is Adventures by Himitsu. You You can view the show notes for this episode on the official website. That's filmproproductivity.com. And you can follow even my personal accounts on Twitter and Instagram at fight_director, or follow the show on Twitter on the official account at FilmProProdPod, or on Facebook at FilmProProductivity. Please continue to support the show by subscribing, spreading the word, and leaving an awesome review.